out Mona fairly quickly, you know. Then we go in to try to finish him off, but then the other two who did all run away seem to show up, and now they are, you know, turned into some Transformers there that we fought the first time, who's doing like the big elbow slams and then does these like toxic green things, and then there's the first time that I died. That's it, not Trog 9 Torg, thinking of like Trogdor, Burninator. But yeah, then the other two after 9 Torg were fairly easy. You know, maybe I gotta jump up there, maybe there I can get another one of those B guys, and then this time they're just kind of like stuck there, which was kind of cool. This guy who's actually talking to us this time, as opposed to it just being some kind of weird, you know, recording, and he's pretty much just like threatening us that he's gonna, you know, make our lives even worse than they are now. So come over here, give her hellos. You know, there's our sister. She's back, which is good. I believe he's now getting on him because he's eating his cereal. Come over here and we check out the butt-faced guy who gave that drum, and he's like apparently got this huge following. Like everybody's like digging his music, which is super cool. You saw that? Welcome back, everybody, and we're gonna hop right into it, taking on the third Skrendal brother, Mona there, hopping around. So if you're not aware, I am recording over this video because my mic wasn't working, and so it does not have the live commentary. But so far we've taken out the two other Skrendal brothers in kind of some one-on-one fights. So now we are on the third one. Seems to be kind of hopping around, throwing out those nasty bubbles. You don't want to get into that. That definitely damages you. But isn't standing up very much to, you know, our good old Squeezy here. It's able to kind of burn down Mona pretty quickly. You know, and then we got Creature coming out with his throwing out the blue balls there. Hopefully, you know, do a little damage, and then, you know, end up taking out Mona fairly quickly. You know, and then we go in to try to finish him off, but then the other two who did all run away seem to show up, and now they are, you know, turned into some Transformers basically. And so now all three of them are together. This definitely becomes quite a harder boss fight. So far has been the hardest boss fight of this game, and honestly one of the harder boss fights that I fought in general. You know, so it seems like they kind of go together in one, and then they have one health bar, and then they all three come out, and now there's a lot of like area effects going on, because you got the one who's doing like the big, you know, elbow down, and then you know, then the other ones are blasting the balls, and then they get out and they do this, which is like just a lot of, you know, AoE. Kind of got to watch your positioning a little bit because of all this nasty like toxic goo that just basically litters the battlefield. And then if you get into that, it does some damage to you. Trying to see if we can't just burn them down with, you know, with Squeezy here. You know, doing our best here to be able to do that. And then they split off, and then now you got to kind of try to take them all on at once while they're all doing different things. You got one who's shooting those bubbles, the other one's just jumping around. You got the one over there that we fought the first time who's doing like the big elbow slams, and then does these like toxic green things, and then there's the first time that I died. You'll definitely see that comes a slight common occurrence in this boss fight. So, but we are back in it again. We're definitely not going to be giving up. We got the rest of our planet to save and everything, so we're gonna see what we can figure out. I do end up seeing that there's one of those guys, so it's like, okay, cool. I can kind of use knifey to swing around a little bit, which might make it a little bit easier to dodge. I won't have to use all my jet fuel all the time to try to stay up in the air and out of that toxic goo. But it's just, it's real difficult when you get all three of them, trying to manage them, because it's so much of it is like this, having to deal with them, each one of them doing their own little move, and there's just so much, like I was saying, so much AoE, so much stuff going on. Try to get in close, get a few whacks with knifey, but it's just everywhere you turn, there's another thing. So now they got this like stank tornado coming at me. I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can. Sitting here 1 HP, just like trying to stay up and float around, and so maybe my health will regenerate, but just not long enough. End up catching one of those green balls, and it just puts me down. But again, we ain't giving up. We're not gonna let these three get the best of us. So it does take quite a few tries, which was kind of refreshing. Over the last few bosses have been, kind of easy. Like what is it? Trog 9 was kind of difficult, but I think that was more just the fact I was still getting used to the game and everything. Or 9 Torg, that's it, not Trog 9, 9 Torg. Thinking of like Trogdor, Burninator. But yeah, then the other two after 9 Torg were fairly easy to get through. Didn't die once, and then came to this one over here. And definitely was more difficult of all the bosses I've fought. Now, one-on-one, they weren't hard at all. Like, I took them all out fairly quickly. So I think it's just mainly the fact that you end up having all three of them that you're trying to take on. It does end up making it a lot more difficult. So here you got Gus, trying to see if we can't, get him down with Gus a little bit. And then we got Sweezy, just trying to see if we can't just like focus on one and just almost like needle it down. Again, trying to do what I can to like keep my health up. And this one was a little bit different than a lot of the other bosses, because a lot of the other bosses always had the little minions come through. And then you could kind of, refill your Dura health while you were kind of fighting the boss. But this guy, it seemed like they had a couple a couple little tanks here and there, but it definitely wasn't enough. And then I'm trying to think, oh well, maybe I gotta jump up there to maybe I gotta jump up there. Maybe there I can get another one of those bee guys. And then this time they're just kind of like stuck there, which was kind of cool. It's like, all right, but then they just split up and they go back to this, and it's just so much that it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to take out that guy, see if we can't focus down. I believe that one is Angela. But then it's just, by the time you're trying to focus one, you got the other two are right behind you. And then here, trying to kind of do the same thing, trying to jump around and end up just stepping in one of those green goo puddles, which just puts me down. I almost think I should have added like a death counter to this just to see how many times I do end up dying. I think it's like 6 or 7 times, which is by far the most that I've died, in this game. And to be honest, it's the most that I've died in quite a while with almost like any game that I've been playing. So, it wasn't the worst thing. It was, definitely nice to have a little bit of a challenge, because for a while I kind of just felt a little bit of a cakewalk. I don't know if maybe there was something, maybe I just wasn't paying attention to some kind of strategy or something like that I could use. Trying to do the time stop thing. But it just seems like they just hop right out of it. It didn't seem to affect them as much as like the little dudes. And then you just got all this goop everywhere, and it's just like just layers it's just everywhere on the battlefield. So it's just hard to not go somewhere and then end up just getting, you know, just a little bit of these, you know, a little bit here and there, hitting them with the multi-glob, seeing if I can't, you know, maybe knock one up in the air. Trying to just kind of focus down each one. And I think if I would have kind of remembered which one was which a little bit better, maybe I could have tried to, like, you know, focus down, you know, like right now, like Angela's the lowest, so maybe trying to take down that one. And then they go into this Bro-Tron mode, which is just, you know, real difficult to deal with, especially with these like little like stank tornadoes they got flowing around. And then here I'm pretty low, so trying to just kind of wait it out to see if I can't just like refill my health, because I know my health refills after a good second. But it's just, there's so much of this goop everywhere. Like right here, it's just ticking me down, and it's just gonna take me out. And then boom, I end up taking one of those tornadoes right to the face, which just totally puts me down. You know, there was even a moment where I was kind of considering, like, do I just need to reload the checkpoint? Am I just, you know, I don't have the Dura health. Like, do I need to just reload the checkpoint? But, you know, we're gonna do this. I'm not gonna reload. No saves coming here. We're gonna see what we can get figured out. And it's just so much bouncing around. Like, you know, like Douglas, he kind of zipped around a little bit, but again, it was only one of them. Whereas these guys, you got 3 of them that you're trying to deal with, and it's just too much. Like, yeah, individually their health bars are a lot lower. You know, because it's kind of, when they're in the Bro-Tron mode, that's kind of like the health bar I was used to for bosses. And so now, you know, we're trying to like get Creeper in there a little bit more, see what we can get figured out. I do end up here in a little bit kind of figuring out that using creatures special ability ends up putting one of them, makes one of them like kind of come and like, you know, sort of join your team for a little bit. Ends up doing some damage to the other one. And so I do end up trying to take advantage of that. Here I kind of am trying to get the Dura tanks again, but it'll almost take all 4 of them to like completely like fill up, you know, my thing. And at this point I'm low on the Gatterall, I think is what it's called. And so like I'm low on that, so anytime I use their special ability, I just have to wait the cooldown. I can't just reload it. So that ends up becoming an issue. And that was kind of another reason why I thought, well, maybe I need to, you know, just reload the checkpoint. But we didn't end up reloading the checkpoint. We just, you know, we got to keep going. That's what we're here for. We got to save the human race. We can't let us just become, you know, drugs. Like, that's not cool. You know, so here I end up finding one of those, and it's just, at this, you know, sometimes it seems like I can kind of dodge those a little bit, and then other times it just seems like, you know, it's almost impossible. And here I'm just too focused on trying to get that bee out. I end up taking 2 of those big sludge tidal waves to the face, and that just totally puts me down for the count right there. But, you know, we're gonna get up, dust off our suit, kind of feeling like we're a little trapped here, that we just can't get through. But, you know, I got faith. We're gonna make it. We're gonna take him out, you know. And then we're kind of in the middle of this tornado thing, and it's, you know, it's not looking too good right now. Pretty low on HP. Like, definitely, now we do fill back up, because we do have the fill up that happens, so that's always good. Kind of able to dodge out of the way. Here I end up, you know, like I said, kind of can take one of them out, and he kind of like hits himself a little bit, and then you're able to at least get a little bit of time to focus down on the other ones. And it's just, you know, it's a lot of just trying to kind of manage this whole battlefield and kind of almost like take one at a time. So here, like, I'm trying to focus on Angela, which I almost get her down, or I think they're all dudes. I don't know. They're called the Skrendal Bros, so I'm assuming that they're like brothers. So, you know, try to get that one down as quickly as possible. You know, so then they can't, all three of them kind of get together, because I kind of think that as they go, you know, you get one less. They don't have as many abilities, and so here I'm just trying to dodge out of these, you know, tornadoes as much as possible, trying to get just finish off Angela here, which I do end up taking out Angela. So now they only have the two of them, which does make it a slightly, you know, better. Trying to just take them down. You know, we're kind of managing the stuff a little bit. There's not as much goop on the ground, which, I mean, maybe that was it. Maybe Angela was the main, you know, goop thrower. And so with him gone, it's not as much goop that's actually lying around, and you just gotta dodge out these tornadoes. Kind of sitting here waiting for them to break apart, so then I can, you know, hopefully be able to, I believe, tag one with Creeper's ability. But here we end up getting right there. We hit that one, so then we can start kind of focusing down on, I believe Jonathan's the one I end up focusing down on. He's kind of over there, trying to hit the multi-goop as much as we can. Feeling slightly better about this one. Definitely feel like I'm getting a little bit of the hang of it, but we're still, you know, vital super low here. So we do got to try to dodge around as much as we can. We definitely don't want to end up losing this one. So, you know, luckily we end up getting the tank refill right before they start doing this tornado thing, because I do take a few of those right to the face. But we're just trying to, this time, just kind of take our time, since we are down one. You know, just trying to burn through this Bro-Tron mode, which it's just like, you know, giving them extra HP basically. And so then we get it right there. Again, we're gonna try to dip out, switch over to Creature, see if we can't get one with the blast, so that he's a little bit out of the fight for a second. You know, but it's just like, as soon as you get one and you start working on one, the other one's over there. So there we go, trying to get Jonathan down as quickly as possible, so they can't, you know, form up again. Which unfortunately they still do end up forming up right at the very end. Probably Jonathan's got like 1 HP left, if you could see his HP bar, which is kind of annoying. It's a little bit disheartening, but, you know, we just got to keep at it. With Bounty Hunter, we're gonna make Gene proud. We're gonna take out these G3 guys and hopefully be able to save our family. You know, our mom and dad are missing. Like, we know where our sister is, but still got mom and dad, and just in general the rest of the humans. Like, we don't, you know, we don't want to just be drugs. Like, that's not what we're wanting to do, you know. So then we got some of the blue balls from Creature, and then we were able to take out Jonathan. And then we just got Mona, which we do miss the Creature special move. And, you know, Mona's just like zipping around all over the place. But in the end, we end up being able to take that one out. And then, as you'll hear here, Knifey's quite excited. He's gonna go and he's gonna get a chop up quite a few of them. Have himself a nice little feast here of these Skrendal guys. Like, yeah, so it looks like they're kind of maybe related to the grunts with the big eyes. You know, just because they have big eyes. And, you know, if you are liking it, do make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You know, leave a comment. You know, maybe did you guys have as hard of a time with these guys that I did? You know, I felt like they were definitely one of the most difficult bosses I've fought, period, of any game that I've fought for like a while. I mean, want to say I think Elden Ring was the last time I really had some issues with bosses like this. So did you guys have the same problem with me, or were you guys able to just kind of like walk through these guys? Do hit that, ring that bell for notifications, so you are notified when I put out videos and I go live. And then we got this guy who's actually talking to us this time, as opposed to it just being some kind of weird recording, and he's pretty much just like threatening us that he's gonna, make our lives even worse than they are now, which I'm assuming means he's gonna, try to endanger our parents even more if like they are, because he's kind of, I guess, found out about us, and we've been taking out his dudes, because after this there's just like the weird doctor, and then I think we had a couple more that were kind of grayed out. But here he is, just giving his normal villain monologue, letting us know how he's going to get us and everything, and, that we're pretty much going to be helpless to do anything. And so, but we did. We took them out, we took these guys out. We're going to go over here, blast through this door, which is the door we saw like way earlier in the episode. I'm going to go ahead, hop down here. There's a nice portal for us. We can go ahead and, head on home. And then we go through our little wormhole sliders, or you can quantum leap, Stargate portal here, basically. And then we end up, coming out in the living room. Hopefully we got Mean Gene there. Our sister was gone suspiciously the last times we were here.
Obviously, you're not as good at bounty hunting as I used to be, but hey.
And so here's Gene. Just in general, congratulating us on our mission. And go here and turn in our reward. Get our 2,000 pesos. And then, then there's Liz, and we end up meeting Tweeg, her alien boyfriend, which doesn't seem too bad, Seems like an alright dude, at least from my perspective, And then, of course, here's Gene. He's like always trying to kind of make some trouble, because he doesn't like Tweeg. So come over here, give her hellos. There's our sister. She's back, which is good. I believe he's now getting on him because he's eating his cereal. And so then, we're going to have to come through here. We're going to have to solve another little family dispute. It kind of seems like the pattern. We do a bounty, we come back. Gene and Liz are arguing. We got to kind of settle the peace. Kind of just looking around here at the stuff that we got. Live, love, cluck. It's definitely an odd sign, but it's one of those signs. So here they are. They're still kind of arguing about, who gets to make the rules, who gets to stay here. I believe at this point we got Liz. It's like, oh, well, do you want to live here, Tweeg? And then Gene's kind of like, well, I don't want him to live here, and that, we're almost like family, It's like, I consider you guys to be family type of stuff, and it's like, I get where Gene's coming from, I guess. We've had quite a few adventures together, but, Liz in the end is her own person, and so she should be able to go and kind of make her own decisions, so we're gonna settle this argument here in just a moment, kind of just listening through to everything, because I think Gene does have, maybe his heart's in the right place, or hearts, who knows. I don't know what their alien anatomy is like. We got some nasty boot prints on the ground. And it's like, yeah, Gene's just kind of working through some stuff. I mean, he's got no legs. He's got the one eye that's messed up. I mean, he was literally homeless when we found him some, 17, 16 episodes ago, which I guess would probably equate to at least one night, because we know that we at least slept one night, um,
Lives here. He's gonna live here.
which went through like what could be a few days.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, shut up, Tweet. This isn't about you.
Why? Because you're worried you'll have to share a
I
cushion
know
with
Tuesday
someone?
was in there, and then they had a bunch of other weird days.
Because I'm
Um,
concerned. You barely know this guy.
but again, just kind of trying to keep the peace, keep everybody kind of wanting to stay together, trying to hear both sides of the argument. Um,
You're cool with Tweeg moving in, right?
but ultimately, like, it's like, sure, Tweeg, you want to move in? Whatever. It's part our house and, my sister's house. So it's like at this point,
Tweeg, let's go
we're
to the
sharing the
park.
domicile. It's not like I'm the only one that's in control.
Yeah.
So we
Anybody
definitely
got a
gotta
problem
gotta
with
let
that?
her,
Sorry, I said anything.
move in a little bit. I mean,
Back to the bounty hunting. Can't wait to show
maybe
you
it is a
the
little fast. I mean, and he is like an alien, so that's kind of weird. But it is what it is. I mean, it's like, Gene, you're not too much better yourself, going up, breaking my computer, looking at porn, and you know, basically crapping wherever you want. But I mean, it is how it is. And then we're gonna come here. There's a vote Clud sound sign for that the mysterious dude. I still don't trust him. Come over here and we check out the butt face guy who gave that drum, and he's like apparently got this huge following. Like everybody's like digging his music, which is super cool. And so that's kind of neat. And then we end up getting over here to Mr. Keeps. Gonna go and load up on some upgrades. End up getting this jetpack booster, so now we can go a little farther. We can't afford a kinetic tank. I believe we end up coming over here and grabbing one of these little $800 upgrades, or 800 pesos. Excuse me. We end up getting up. I think we get the ammo sack, I want to say. We'll check it out. Yep, so we get the ammo sack. So now we got some more ammo for Kenny. Kind of look around at some of these other things. There's another Dura tank. Seeing what is for sale, because I know we bought a couple things that weren't necessarily just upgrades here. And then we're going to go ahead and head on out. Zip over here. Start try to just do a little light exploring before we do ultimately end up just wanting to go home. And here's another portal, which might, maybe that opens up and takes us to some other areas, But here we are, kind of looking like we're going to be ending the episode here. But definitely do, as always, appreciate anybody who's watching the video, who leaves the comment, hitting that like button. Definitely ring that notification bell. And if you are new, definitely subscribe. I do intend to finish this out. Recently just completed Baldur's Gate 3 live on stream. Do intend to start up another game. I was thinking of Dragon Age the Veil Guard. That looked pretty cool, so I think that's going to be the next one we do on our live stream. But definitely appreciate it, and as always, much love, everyone.